Three guitars, one iconic band. Lynyrd Skynyrd's unique sound was the result of a lot of hard work and a guitar powerhouse trio that included Gary Rossington, Allen Collins, Ed King, and later Steve Gaines. So I've been listening to a lot of Skynyrd lately, and it got me thinking about how challenging their music is to play correctly. So Skynyrd was one of the first bands I remember really listening to the guitar parts when I was a kid in the 1980s, getting my first electric guitar. And it still amazes me that no matter how many times I listen to the same songs, the same albums over and over again, that I find that I catch something new that I really didn't pick up on the first time around. So as I'm learning to play some of their material, I realized that I might be missing a certain phrasing or a technique that I wasn't adding before. We're going to talk about each of the guitar players from Lynyrd Skynyrd, their unique backgrounds, their distinct contributions, as well as what made them the most successful Southern rock band in history. It's no secret that Gary Rossington played some of the most lyrical and emotional slide guitar in Southern rock. His background included musical roots that ran deep in blues, rock, and country. As a teenager, when Gary first heard the Rolling Stones, he abandoned his original dream to be a New York Yankees baseball player and fell in love with the guitar. Not only was he a master of the slide guitar, but his riffs and licks were just as impressive. While Gary didn't tend to use a lot of flashy speed or techniques, his note choices were deliberate and meaningful, such as the solo on Simple Man. Allen Collins approached his soloing a little differently. Allen had chops that rivaled any guitar master. His technique was precise and powerful, and while chops can only get you so far as an artist, his melodic composition was fluid and inventive. Rhythmically, Allen had a knack for turning technical wizardry into complex musical phrases that often left us wondering, how did he come up with that? Combine impressive artistic ability with a charismatic stage presence, and you have Allen Collins. Arguably, Allen's most iconic guitar work can be heard on the solo for Freebird, which is a test of endurance and skill. Ed King was a very dynamic guitar player who was able to seamlessly combine rock, blues, country, and even some jazz elements into Skynyrd's sound. As an integral member of the band, Ed brought a completely different style of playing that complemented the music very well. Now, it is known that Ed was starting to experience some health issues, and between his health problems as well as the infighting that was taking place in the band due to substance abuse, the rigors of being one of the hardest working bands in history, Ed finally just said, enough's enough, packed his suitcase, walked off into the night, not to be seen again until the 1987 tribute tour. Without a doubt, one of Ed's most significant contributions to Lynyrd Skynyrd was his riff and solos in Sweet Home Alabama. After Ed King's departure, the band decided not to fill the empty spot right away, but rather relied on the twin Gibson axes of Gary and Alan. The band, though, was in a recent slump as their latest album, Give Me Back My Bullets, did not do as well on the charts as they hoped it would. About the same time, ex-Skynyrd opening act Peter Frampton had just released his live album, Frampton Comes Alive, which hit #1 on the charts. The band was definitely feeling the pressure to get some redemption after Give Me Back My Bullets and wanted to do their own live album. They were now on the hunt for a third axeman. They jammed with a variety of great players, including Leslie West of Mountain, Muscle Shoals session player Wayne Perkins, and Huey Thomason of The Outlaws. They decided on Barry Lee Harwood, who was an Atlanta-based session player. The only problem, however, was that Barry was already committed to a month-long European tour with the singer Melanie. The band went ahead and set up some dates for the live album, One More From the Road, at the famous Fox Theater in Atlanta, Georgia, after Barry Lee Harwood's return from Europe. Now, the band was getting ready to arrive in Kansas City for a show, and Cassie Gaines, one of the Honkettes, the backing singers, recommended that her brother come to a rehearsal and jam. The band did not like that idea of bringing in some clown, and they actually rejected her proposal. But Cassie didn't listen, and she phoned her brother Steve and said, "Hey, get down here and bring your guitar." Now, Steve got to sit in, and they played the song T for Texas. And after a really long jam session on that song, taking turns trading solos, Alan looked at the rest of the band and said, "He's number 3." After a few weeks of some very intense rehearsals, Steve Gaines officially became the new third guitar player of Lynyrd Skynyrd only a day before the famous recording was made at the Fox Theater in Atlanta. Hailing from Miami, Oklahoma, Steve was the perfect replacement for Ed King. He had the chops, the mindset, and the stage presence that the band needed. Steve not only had the ability to play all of the rock, blues, and country styles, but he also was a phenomenal slide player. During that first jam session in Kansas City, Steve showcased his slide playing ability, and after the end of the jam session, Gary Rossington said he was impressed with Steve. I really dig the first solo in That Smell when Steve was playing it. All right, let me know what you guys thought about the video. Drop me those comments down below. Don't forget to like the video, share the video, subscribe if you've not done so already. Joe Hansen Guitar. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Keep rocking on.